mesmerizing array of stars, 6 friends, Jake, Mia, Leo, Emma, Will, and Lucy, set out on their annual camping trip. Their destination was the elusive Black Pine Forest, known for its dense woods and uncharted territories. The idea was simple: get away from their chaotic city lives and bond over campfires and stories. On their second day, they decided to explore the woods. "Why don't we split up in pairs? Cover more ground that way," Jake suggested. Everyone agreed, pairing off, Jake with Mia, Leo with Emma, and Will with Lucy. They decided to meet back at camp by sunset. Jake and Mia went north, following the call of a distant waterfall. The serene sounds of nature surrounded them, but as they ventured deeper, a thick fog began to envelop the area. Mia, sensing something amiss, tugged at Jake's sleeve. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. But before Jake could reply, Mia vanished into the fog. Jake called out, panic evident in his voice. But Mia was gone. Meanwhile, Leo and Emma ventured west, discovering an abandoned log cabin. Curiosity piqued, they entered. The cabin seemed untouched by time, with relics from the past scattered around. Drawn to an old diary on a wooden table, Emma started reading aloud. With every word, the room grew colder. Startled by a sudden noise, Leo turned to find Emma no longer beside him. He searched the cabin frantically, but she was nowhere to be found. To the east, Will and Lucy trekked, laughing and reminiscing about old times. Their path led them to a clearing with peculiar stone formations. In the center was an ancient-looking stone altar. As Lucy approached to get a closer look, the ground trembled. Will watched in horror as Lucy was pulled into the ground by unseen forces. As the sun began to set, the 3 remaining friends, each unaware of the other's ordeal, returned to the campsite. The weight of their friends' disappearances began to dawn on them. Jake, Leo, and Will, stricken with panic and fear, decided to stay up and keep a lookout. Night enveloped the woods, but the sounds of nature were replaced by eerie silences and occasional whispers. Suddenly, an ethereal glow emanated from the woods, and shadowy figures approached the campsite. The spirits of the forest, guardians of the land, revealed themselves. They spoke of an age-old pact, broken by intruders, and the price that had to be paid. "Your friends trespassed sacred grounds," one spirit said. "Balance must be restored." Jake, Leo, and Will, desperate to save their friends, pleaded with the spirits. Hours seemed like minutes as they negotiated, and by dawn, a new pact was made. The spirits released Mia, Emma, and Lucy, but with a caveat. Every year, on the same day, one of the 6 friends had to return and pay homage to the spirits to maintain the balance. Grateful yet scarred, the friends returned to their city lives, bound by the secret of Black Pine Forest and the pact they made. Every year, as the day approached, they'd gather to decide who would go, a constant reminder of their haunting adventure. One day, I decided to take a walk alone in the forest. I had come to this forest, which I had never been to before, to escape city life and find some peace. At first, everything was normal. The chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, the gentle coolness of the wind. As I continued, the atmosphere began to change. The once tranquil forest was enveloped in an unsettling silence. With every step, I felt as if something from the depths of the forest was watching me. I was startled by a scream. What was that sound? And where was it coming from? I quickened my pace trying to locate the source. After a while, I found myself standing in front of an old cabin. Its door was slowly swaying, and from inside, a strange, soft hum could be heard. Curiously, I stepped in. I walked into a dark room, waiting for my eyes to adjust. The sight before me was chilling. Symbols were carved into the walls, and on a table in the middle there were strange tools and candles. Was this some kind of ritual place? Suddenly, a cold hand touched my back. I turned swiftly, but there was no one there. Slowly, I moved towards the door, but it was securely locked. In a panic, I looked around. I was alone in the room, or so I thought. I began to hear whispers from behind the walls. The voices grew louder, driving me to the brink of madness. Gathering all my courage, I shouted, "Who's there?" There was a sudden silence. Then a shadowy figure appeared before me. Was this the former owner of the cabin? The shadowy figure, sizing me up, asked, "Why are you here?" Its voice took on a cold and threatening tone. I tried to explain that I had just come for a walk and meant no harm. The figure approached me and unlocked the door with an old key in its hand. "Leave and never return," it said. At that moment, I would have done anything to get away from there. I rushed out and ran non-stop towards the edge of the forest. Now, I am terrified to venture into that forest again. No one knows what lies within, and I never want to find out. This experience will remain a nightmare I'll never forget for the rest of my life.